Well, good morning, designers. It's about 6:30 in the morning before school. Thought I'd come in early and do some recording and drinking some coffee. So today is all about the type tool. Let's get started. We're going to go to File, New, and I want you to set up an 8 by 10 document. So 8 inches by 10 inches. Double check, and make sure it is sent to inches and not pixels. And hit Create. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save this in our Lessons folder. Save as a cloud document. We're going to put it in our Lessons folder. Let's call it, with your first name, Type Tool. So in my case, Heather Type Tool. And click Save. All right, so like I said, all about the type tool, a very simple, easy introduction today just to get you started, get you familiar. So let's start by locating the type tool. It is in the left side. If you have the double column toolbox set up, you'll notice that if you have the advanced box open, there's a wide variety of type tools. If you happen to have the basic, you will only have the type tool, type on path, and vertical type tool. Either one is fine. It doesn't matter today because we're only going to be using the type tool and the vertical type tool. All right, so there's two ways to add type within your document. You can either click or you can click and drag. Most of the time you're simply going to want to click. Clicking and drag defines the area for which the text goes in, and we're going to be doing that later. But for the first time, don't worry about what's set up in your options, but I just want you to click. When you click, you get what's called some dummy type, and you'll notice that it is highlighted. Now we can make some changes to your size. So I want you to set your font to Myriad Pro, so change it if you need to change it. Leave it set to regular, and let's put our font size at 24. And then with it still highlighted, I want you to type your first and last name. Now, if I want to change this, if I want to change my type, if I try to change it now, you'll notice it doesn't change this type. In order to change type that's already been typed, you must highlight it. Then you can make your changes to your size and your font. So go ahead and stop the video, type your name, and then attempt to change it by highlighting it. All right, great. Let's go ahead and grab our Move tool, our selection tool, and notice I can move this type around. I can also enlarge the type and rotate the type. So stop the video and try that now. Okay, even with it rotated, I can still highlight it with my type tool to make edits. I want you to highlight your rotated name, and I want you to make it a blue color, and let's take it back down to size 36. Stop the video, do that now. Okay, with our type still selected, or if not, you'll have to reselect it. I'm going to show you a couple of quick, easy ways to change your settings for your type tool. If I come up to the character font family section and I simply click on it, it's going to highlight the font name. Now if I use the scroll button on my mouse, I can scroll through the different fonts to see what I have available. Now I have more fonts on my computer, I've downloaded more, but you should have a fair amount of fonts. You'll also notice I can do the same thing with my points. If I highlight the points, I can scroll up and down to see what that would look like. So go ahead and stop the video and try changing your font and your size using the scrolling option. Okay. Go ahead and grab your selection tool. We're going to take this type here and we're going to change the color. You can change the color simply by using the selection tool. You don't have to highlight that to change that. You can also use it to scroll through your fonts. So it's actually much easier to change your type after you've created it than trying to set everything before you type. So typically what I do is whatever type I have set, I click, I type it, then I go back and edit it. That's just my personal preference. It's up to you. So notice I'm still going through, and this time instead of the type tool, I just have the selection tool. Okay, stop the video and try that now. All right, one last thing I want to show you here is that you can change your font style. So depending on the font family, some font families have options. So it might give you regular italics, or it might give you italics, light, medium, bold. So some of the fonts do have options with your font style, but not many of them, I will say that. All right, so go ahead and pick a font size. Just make sure that your name fits on your artboard. Stop the video and try that now. All right, we're gonna make some copies here. I want you to click and drag using the Alt key. I want you to make 2 copies of your name. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna change the opacity. So I want you to click on the one that's in the furthest back, and up in your control panel up top, let's take our opacity down to about 50%, somewhere about 50%. And then the second one, you may have to move them a little bit. We're going to take that one down to about 75%. So notice you can change your opacity as well. And then stack that back on top. So we want something like this. Stop the video and try that now. Okay, great. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to talk about the clicking and dragging with the type tool. So when you click and drag, so if I click and drag, it's going to set parameters. So if I click and drag a very small box, but my font is very large, you'll notice that it doesn't fit. So that's why I tell most people, don't click and drag, just click. But sometimes if you have a defined area that you want to make sure your text fits into, you might want to click and drag. So we're going to grab our type tool. We are going to click and drag a box about half the size of the page towards the bottom. And then we're going to change that font size to 36. And let's change our font to Microsoft Sans Serif. Okay, so stop the video and do that now. Okay, with this still highlighted, I want to show you that you can copy and paste text from a variety of sources. So we're going to go to the internet, and we are going to open up a quote. Oops, wrong ones. Here we go, popular quotes. And I want you to go to the internet, and I just want you to find a quote, and I want you to highlight it. And you're going to copy this. You can either copy it by right-clicking and going to copy, or if you happen to know the keyboard shortcut is Control-C, you can do that. And then we're going to come back to Illustrator with our type still selected. And again, you can either go to Edit, Paste, or Control-V. And now you've typed your quote in there. If you want to edit it and change your size, you can go ahead and edit it. Highlighting, if you feel like you want to highlight it, or using that type tool. Have some fun with your fonts choice. And deselect that. All right. 2 more things we're going to do to our block of type here. Go ahead and grab your selection tool, and I want you to click on it to activate it. And I want you to notice up in your control panel, you should have some alignment options. By default, it's probably set to align left, but you can center align it and you can right align it. There will be more about alignment and justification in the advanced lesson, but this is all you need to know for right now. I also want you to see that with your selection tool, you should have anchor points, and you can change the shape and size of your bounding box. So now I want you to click and drag so that your bounding box is only in the bottom left-hand corner. If you need to make it smaller or bigger to fit in that box, go for it. You can also type in type. So if I want something between 24 and 36 inches, I can type that in. All right. Stop the video and resize your type box now. All right, very last thing with this is we're going to put a stroke. It's just a review. I want to show you that you can put a stroke on text. So what we're going to do is we're going to click back on our top copy of our name that should be 100% opacity. I want you to put a white stroke on it at 2 points. So that's just showing you that you can put a stroke on text as well. All right, last thing is the vertical tape tool, and then we are done for the day. Your vertical type tool is in the drawer with your type tool. So go ahead and grab that vertical type tool, and we're just going to click. And again, I want you to type your name first and last with a space in between. What I want to show you about this tool is notice that it's kind of hard to read type that's going vertical. Instead, my recommendation is to go back to your regular type tool and type your name. Okay, so stop the video, do this now. You should have vertical type and then regular horizontal type. All right, and then we're going to rotate this. We're going to rotate our name. You can either rotate it with, excuse me. You can either rotate it with your first name on top or on bottom, but I want you to rotate your name. I tend to like to rotate it the other way. So I'm starting from the bottom and reading up. So I want to show you an alternative to vertical type. For some people, depending on the font that you use, simply rotating the type, horizontal type, works better and is more legible than vertical type. So stop the video and do that now. Great. That's it for today's lesson. Told you it would be nice and easy. The next one is far more fun and interesting, but we are getting advanced into the type tool. If you'd like to spend some more time just playing around with the type tool in this artboard, that's fine. Just please make sure that you should have your name with 3 copies. You should have your block of type, which is your quote. You should have vertical type and rotated horizontal type. Good job.